Welcome back to the Byzantian Brewscast, the podcast that's now legally old enough to vote because it's on the 18th
Oh,
benefit.
it's taken out. It's taken out the town now. The
Yeah,
few clubs.
yeah. It's a podcast that's legally able to vote and just in time too, because it's election week next week. I'm not going to share any political opinions, but I just think it's funny that the election is on July 4th of all things.
Oh, it's like the four. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Yeah, I sometimes forget because I drown out the noises.
yeah, yeah,
Not much good
yeah.
news going at the moment. One of those things.
Ugh, I know. How have you been this week? Or the last couple of weeks, actually, because we
All right.
skipped a week.
I've been broke, but
Oof.
only recently. One of those nice surprises that you sometimes find.
Yeah.
At least until the fifth, they'll be fine. But
Fair enough, skis.
uh, once one of those. You know what it is? That the Microsoft subscription that suddenly came out my account.
Oh, I see.
So that's nice. When I need to spend it because
Yeah.
I like Microsoft Word and stuff, but bang, 60 quid.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
like,
okay,
it's like,
cool.
oh, okay.
That
Ouch.
wasn't in my plan this
Hello,
month.
Terry. Welcome to the thing. Hey, hello, Terry.
All right, it's been all right though. I guess you could say I met a very minor celebrity like twice last couple of weeks.
It's cool. It's cool.
Doing my charity events and so they must have got in touch with the what's it called now? The Commonwealth Games slot because Perry the Bullgate made a couple of appearances, so that was
Oh,
interesting.
interesting. Stoking the
Really,
flames of
honestly,
rivalry.
not really. We're trying to be good. It's for the kids, but yeah, it's really hard to work around the guy because he's like American trained, so he's all on people's face. He nicks people's hats for a joke, of course.
Oh,
And I'm
I
thinking I'd
love
get
that.
slapped if I did that. I keep thinking I'd get slapped if I did that.
Yeah.
He just goes up to kids and just nicks their hats and gives them back. It's something else. It's fun to bounce off, but it's like you need to give him a lot of space because he moves here, there, everywhere.
Mm.
Uh, it's a learning curve. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
What else have I been up to? Lots and lots of homebrew. I figured out how to make my homebrew content actually worth something. Is if I just put it all in the file for the month, not
Mm.
empty it at the end of the month, and everything I've done ends up in there. So I'm constantly adding stuff to it, even if it's not necessarily the same project.
Fair enough.
So I've been busy. It's been a real mix of profiles for Talislanta because they don't have some of the profiles in the book.
Oh.
A couple of new. Well, they got a monster manual of their own at the back, but I mean more generic profiles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff that you can pull together just from stuff already there. Couple of characters. Been seeing a lot of very petty online slander about martial classes in D&D, so I've been thinking, could I make that not suck so much? So I've done a few semi-generic profiles for veteran fighters of
Yeah.
various species and stuff.
Interesting.
Um, a bit of Lord of the Rings stuff because I'm going through my pile of shame and I found enough for a whole load of orcs that I want to use because they look gribbly and nasty.
Nice.
Um, what else have I got in here? A couple of flat out encounters. We like to have set encounters sometimes. It's nice to
Yeah.
just have some generic ones. I'd like to just pick a location or an image that would be cool at the time and go, that could be an encounter.
Uh-huh.
So can slot it in a lot of different places. Stuff like cave that ends up at a dwarven, like ends up in like a hole in a dwarven fort that's been recently repurposed by goblins. That's something that's fairly generic, but you can
Yeah.
slot it in anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, it's been a bit of like an experimental month with the homebrew, but it
Uh-huh.
is there's a couple of dozen things in here that I'm fairly happy with either way.
Hmm.
It's oh, that and a million and one on job applications going out.
Yeah, I
Some
get
of
that
them
feel.
actually doing. Some of them I have actually been offered work doing costume work. I just need more details on it.
Yeah,
So we'll see how that goes. I just need them to get back to me now. It's the worst bit.
yeah.
So honestly, it's been a busy couple of weeks.
Good, good. Likewise on this front. So we discussed in the last podcast that I've been to Pendeen. So I've been to South Wales for a whole weekend. Um, First and foremost, camping is hard, as it turns
We were
out.
tent camping or
What? Yeah, tent camping. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So had a sleeping bag. We had a tent and everything. I didn't bring my airbed because I was like, oh, I won't need an airbed. It'll be
Okay.
fine. No, no,
Did you did you need an
hard
airbed?
ground. Yeah, I need an airbed or at least some sort of layer underneath the
Yeah, sometimes you do.
because it was quite hard and
Yeah.
was very uncomfortable and was making it very hard to sleep. Um, Also,
So you
the
slept well then?
tent. Yeah, yeah. I didn't sleep at all the first night, and then I think the second night I got to sleep purely because of how sleep deprived I was. So that was fun,
Oh, that,
and I'm still feeling the
there's the best
knock-on
part.
effects of it now.
There's the best part of camping though is you get up at a good time because
Mm.
the sun decides when you get up.
Yeah.
That is, I used to go camping like a lot of the family trips I used to go on. They were mostly camping, so I've done
Mm.
quite a lot of tent putting up and down and all that stuff. And for years of I'm used to being without. So if it's a nice soft campsite, as long as you can sleep like an absolute dream.
Yeah.
Um,
The other problem was the campsite is kind of because it's Wales. Wales is very hilly, so we didn't have much
hmm.
choice but to pop up a tent at a slight angle. So you're kind of
Oh
like
no.
sleeping in like launch position, so to speak. So you're about to be fired out of a fucking trebuchet. So this is not optimal. I feel like I'm sleeping in like
Did
one
you
of
not?
those like
um,
tubes from the Matrix.
Did you not sleep like feet downhill?
Oh yeah, feet downhill, but still, like that's still not the
Right.
most
Okay.
comfortable thing, especially not on hard ground either. So, not sure how I feel about this. Um,
Oh no, that's quite a good way. I think it's not quite good for your back though.
Probably.
You just
Well,
wake up already ready to go, right?
see, the thing is, as well, the thing is, I don't sleep on my back. I always sleep on my side because I find sleeping on my back
Oh no,
uncomfortable.
okay, I didn't
So
know that.
sleeping
Okay,
on
fair enough. That
my shoulders in the morning were absolutely killing me.
can make you sleep like a mountain goat, like 90-degree angle.
uh,
When you say there's a slight hill, imagine like there's a flat all the way down that's really rocky.
it wasn't quite that bad, but it was kind of hilly. Um, got woken up by a rooster on the second day though, so that was funny. There was a rooster on a farm nearby, and I have yet
That's
to
what they're for, though.
yeah, I've yet to Google why roosters sort of crow at a certain point in the morning. I have no idea why. I just I know it's a thing that they do. But the car show was actually really good. Um, the journey down there was really fun. Filming a Cadillac Globetrotter all the way down was pretty funny. First day of the real racing was cool. There was a lot of cars that showed up, racing and otherwise. Sunday was because it rained a bit in the morning and then there was like some sea mist that came by which
Mhm.
completely stopped the racing from happening for safety reasons. It's like, yeah, I can't see
Oh
past
no.
two cones, so we can't do any racing. It's like, ah, bollocks.
Right. Okay. So there's a lot of
Someone just
yeah,
followed and
what
I
do
just
you
got
call car
metal pipe
people?
noised. Thank you for the
Car
follow,
people
whoever
in the
that
pub, I
was.
imagine.
Thank you, Bluesbury. Cheers. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say so much. So do you spend a lot of time in the pub then on that
Yeah,
Sunday?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, cafes and breakfast and stuff like that. And there was other
Yeah.
things to do other than just watch the race. We chatted to some of the like, people bought their classics. Nice to meet you. Got to
Yeah, car
learn.
enthusiasts will talk to each other and swap stories and stuff. It's like any hobby, really.
Yeah.
But you drive your hobby away with you at the end as well. That's quite nice. Um,
Yeah, and I did find a really rare but weird Hot Wheels thing. It's like some sort of constructible
oh,
kit
okay.
thing that is battery powered.
Hmm.
It's very strange. It's got like some like very early AI stuff with it, so it goes on this particular type of track in a very weird way. So like you build this particular version of the track idea, and it knows what the various stats of the stunts are. So the car has stats, and the car will
Whoa,
drive according to its stats. Apparently, which is
that is
very,
very
very
interesting.
weird.
I'd have loved that as a kid, I think. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, pending was a lot of fun. Today I've been to Coles Hill Auto Breakfast Meet, so another car show, selling diecast stuff. I made about 160 quid, so I can buy a D&D book or something. Just kidding. I'm going third party.
Yeah, always go third party.
But
Unless you want to go like third market and get some of the very early fifth edition ones, they're actually
yeah,
still quite good.
but it's been that was fun as well. So, and it's again, I've done a lot of content mining. Yeah, sure, content mining over those two events. I've got stuff at my dad's YouTube channel, Rust and Gasoline. So I'm good on that front. But I haven't really stopped in like several weeks. And so my brain is starting to go like,
You need to stay in one place a bit.
yeah, yeah. I need to rest for an actual like full day at some point. Anyway,
Well, tomorrow's Monday.
yep, yep. I might try, although I don't know. I'm a Garfield, and I don't like Mondays. Right. Anyway, enough waffling. Tabletop book club. What we got for this week?
Yeah, this week I've had a bit of a scour, and I've been going through. So I did my pile of shame with the old.
Nice.
Um, the Lord of the Rings Battle Company stuff.
Uh huh.
So basically, it's like the Middle Earth battle game, but much smaller scale.
Yep.
Honestly, it's not the most balanced game. I'll be fair. And so basically, it's classic Middle Earth with all the Games Workshop editions,
Uh huh.
but it's got all these special rules for an experience for making your regular orc warriors or whatever in something a little more impressive.
Ooh.
So that way you can have like your no name characters actually be something.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a really good little system. I do think it's weird that they still occasionally you know one of those games like Games Workshop has in their books that they rarely do anything with unless it's in Finecast now,
Uh huh.
or like a re-release of an old model kit from 2003, 2006.
Yeah.
I've always had a soft spot for that game. It's really quite good. Been hoping to get some of the group into it as well, so I can use it. So looking through what I have painted up, and wouldn't you know it, I've got enough for a whole warband of Moria goblins,
Hey. Gnoblins.
which are yeah, I mean they're really ugly looking, um, and they're kind of terrible, but that's why you have like loads of them.
Yeah.
Like that's why I love them though. They're kind of like a meme, but I would want to play a meme team just this once.
Hmm.
It's like yeah, a really good game. Really flesh it. It's got really good like layers for background on where your warband actually comes from, because they'll be from Minas Tirith, but where in Minas Tirith? So it encourages a little bit of. I will say it's very role play light,
Hmm.
um, but that's not that's not necessarily the end of the world,
Yeah.
because it's ultimately a skirmish game, and it's not half bad. But really, that's interesting.
Mhm.
Um, it's just sort of new Goblin news. That's interesting.
Goblin news.
Um, yes.
Goblin news.
I was walking about Moria, right? Saw a little goblin fella. He was playing a guitar. Um,
Little goblin fella, yeah.
that it's funny. Every now and again I'll rewatch Ricky Gervais show. I love that
Yeah.
stuff.
You know, the funny thing is about the whole the Carl Pilkington joke in this scenario. I'm reminded of Magic the Gathering and a monkey
Mm.
goblin pirate. It's a little
Little
monkey
monkey
fella.
goblin
A
fella.
little monkey goblin fella, yeah. Little monkey goblin.
Monkey goblin. A literal monkey goblin fella.
Yeah, because like, I think on Ixalan or something, the goblins there are monkey goblins. They're also pirates, by the way. Usually.
I kind of love the idea though. That's one thing I have found. If you're looking at like the sort of the wiki up for Forgotten Realms, and you can look up as goblinoids, and there is loads of stuff
Hmm.
on that. Like fifth edition, for all the basic bits that do work, they cut out a lot of the interesting bits and
Yeah.
the weirdo goblinoids that don't really show up much anymore, which is a shame because there's underwater hobgoblins which are nice.
Hmm.
Several flavors of goblin that are slightly bigger than the regular goblin. There's blue goblins that are weirdly psychic. There's all sorts of weird stuff that just didn't make it into the new edition.
Yee.
It's, yeah, it's one of those- every now and again I literally go into goblin mode and think goblins are neat. So Lord of the Rings
Literal
has had my
goblin mode.
favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings have some of my favorite goblins because they just look perfectly ugly, and I like an ugly looking goblin.
I love that. So,
Yeah.
you have a use for your Moria goblins now.
Oh yeah, I could play a meme team. Play a little mini horde of little goblin fellas.
Oh.
That and more. There's Lord of the Rings are just a happy, fun, happy thing to go back to every now and again because I'd say it's a nice, uncomplicated
Hmm.
fantasy series. I like Madoon and stuff, and like Dark Sun, but sometimes it's nice to go back to something that's very classically heroic and not exactly the most complicated moral thing to think about. It's just we look at the average orc in Lord of the Rings and go, yeah, that's evil.
Yeah.
There's no moral issue with that. It's like, yeah, I know what that guy's about. It's nice to go back to the like the normal something standard and normal. So when I
Hmm.
go back to the weird fantasy, it's like it feels weird again.
Yeah. So,
So occasionally,
mm,
yeah, that's
so
my Vix this week.
yeah. So
What you
this
found?
week I have basically a micro RPG game. So by a
Hmm.
company called Beyond Cataclysm that does a lot of micro publishers. So they're like little mini things you can sort of do in a couple minutes, kind of thing. Very rules light, but small. So and it's kind of one of those where you just if you've got nothing else to play or whatever, or you've got a member of the group has not made it. You've got like a backup thing that's also quite funny. They also do podcasts, by the way. But so I've got something here called Bar Fight.
Oh,
Things
I've
have
done fun.
things have gone
Um,
sour in the bar again. Let's see who wins. All characters have 10 hit points in a single defining feature. Each player generates a PC and an NPC, rolling below on the real weapons table. So it's a D6 system. So you're one. So you roll before what kind. So first you roll to see what kind of trait you'll have, what type. Anything from common pub folk,
right.
appearance, starting items, occupation, clothing, emotion, and then once you've rolled that and picked that, you go through the six. So you've got things like in common pub folk, for example, there's the shady character, the regular, the general manager, etc. In appearance, there's things like glasses, visible scars, lots of hair, etc. Starting items could be anything from an umbrella to a pet hamster. Occupation, anything from a
Do that.
firefighter to a taxi driver. Clothing could be anything from some Doc Martens to a scarf. Emotion, happy, sad, angry, peaceful, relaxed, anxious. So you roll sort of one of these to help infer your role play essentially. Um, and then you roll. Okay, yeah. So then you roll a d6 to decide if you even start with a weapon. On a 5 or 6, you do, And then it's 1 is brass knuckles, 2 is a baseball bat, 3 is a knife, 4 is throwing stars, 5 is nunchucks, and 6 is a sawn off shotgun. So we're going like increasingly wacky in terms of why did you bring this to a bar?
Didn't you walk around with ninja stars constantly?
Yeah. So apparently get 2 bottle caps for each player. They should be the same type of color or have the player's name written on in some way. Feel free to use the names on paper or use counters instead. Put the caps in a bag to draw from. So you basically randomize everything. You put all the caps in a thing. Make sure you know your color or type, whatever. So you pull a bottle top from the bag. That player acts. That's how they choose initiative. So you choose. The initiative is very random. Just pick a bottle cap. Player rolls to see which of their characters act. So 1 to 3 is their NPC, or 4 to 6 is their player character. Player rolls an action table for the character. Player rolls outcome. We'll get to those in a minute. Narrates the moment, records results. Repeats steps 3 and 4 for their other character. And then have all players been pulled at least once. If yes, put all bottle tops back in the bag, begin a new round. If no, pull the bottle top from the bag. That player acts. So D6 actions. So on a 1, you do a hit. On a 2, you do a kick. On 3, you do acrobatics. On 4, you do a throw. On 5, you do a trick. On 6, you do other things. So a hit can be anything from a punch in the gut to wrestle to the floor, kicking in various kicking people or objects in various ways. Acrobatics, anything from swinging on a chandelier to flexing muscles. I don't know how, throwing weapons at things, catching weapons, or throwing things to friends, or throw weapons to someone else at the pub. Tricks could be anything from fainting to stealing drinks. And other stuff is pick up a weapon, hide under a table, frantically drink pint, steal pork scratchings.
Does that help you?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know why stealing pork scratchings is a thing. Trip opponent, or if you somehow roll double 6, you call the police. Which is just very funny to me. Yes, my action is I'm going to call the police. Okay.
What the thought of you roll up a character who's holding a hamster who's peaceful. you just do some sick acrobatics for no reason.
The D6 outcomes goes. Yeah, go on.
Like, what kind of day are you having where you're just in the pub, you're peaceful, you got a hamster.
Maybe it's their emotional support hamster.
Thing is acrobatics.
You know?
Well, your first thing is to do acrobatics.
I mean, there's a bar fight going on. Maybe, well, unless you're like the first person who accidentally starts the bar by doing acrobatics. Look, I don't know.
I think that guy's just showing off. He's not there for the fight.
So outcomes: 1 is really bad, 2 is bad, 3 is not great, 4 is okay, 5, 6 success, and 6 is magnificent. In combat, if you roll bad, you take damage. If you roll good, you deal damage, and I think you gain something called glory. You can also inflict scars, which is funny. Or injury.
Okay.
And you can also sustain injuries.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, damage is just losing HP. Makes sense. Reach 0 and your characters are knocked unconscious. It's a bar fight. You're not trying to kill each other. Unless you are. In which case... an injury is a permanent impairment. Suffer -1 level to all future outcomes. So it's basically a -1 to your roll, which seems to be pretty brutal. Scars are just cosmetic. Okay. So it's weird.
You just get a cool scar.
Yeah.
All right.
And yeah, there's scars could be anywhere. I love how so you've got bent or broken, which apparently is broken body or elbow dislocation. That doesn't affect you though. It's fine. That's not an injury. It's fine. Torn sleeve, trousers, belt, ear, skin on cheek. All 6 just says all clothes gone. If you roll a 2 and a 6, you're just naked. What the fuck?
So you could punch someone so hard their clothes just are gone.
Sounds like a fucking Fist of the North Star attack. Three is
Oh my god,
something.
what are you doing?
Yeah, three makes something go missing: toenail, finger, ear, leg, arm, or hat. That's quite the escalation.
A
Missing
leg.
leg,
Wait, a
hat.
leg goes missing. What?
Hat is the most dangerous, apparently.
So, Barry the
Uh,
Bull just rocks up,
yeah.
nicks your hat, and leaves.
Four
Brilliant.
is bruised, so black eye, cauliflower ear, bottom, of course, lip, knee, and entire side of body. Bleeding, nose, ear, eye, torso, gut wound, or jugular. Bear in mind these are scars, so apparently a bleeding jugular doesn't kill you.
That's not painful though.
Yeah.
A gut wound. Nah,
Hilariously,
it's fine.
though, hilariously, it's when you roll a 6 to determine the category of scar. Emotional scars.
Oh,
It can make you bitter, angry, fearful, exhilarated, hating, or loving for some reason. Yeah, because when I get punched in the
oh,
face, the first thing I experience
God,
is "Aw."
you fall in love.
Um, determining a winner. Who wins a game of bar
Right.
fight? An interesting question. There is no correct answer. Is the winner the last person standing?
What?
Is it the person who has the best story to boast of, piled high with glory? Is the winner the person who caused the most bar damage, maybe even the least? All we know is the fight is over, and they'll probably know and soon see you there. So I guess it's like you can determine the winner based on a couple of factors. So you get like, is it going to be a death match, quote unquote? Is it going to be a glory match, or is it going to be most damage dealt kind of point thing? Because you can deal damage to the bar
You don't know
itself,
until you
which is very
start.
funny.
No, not the bar.
0 to 5 damage to the
Wait,
bar
so,
is just a normal Tuesday night. A few broken chairs, cracked window. 5 to 10 is pretty bad. The police got called more than once. Almost everything significantly damaged. The bar was shut for weeks. So 10 plus just says devastation. The building is wrecked. Every window shattered. Every bolt broken. All the furniture apparently wobbly. Pretty sure the place is still on fire too. This is the end of the bar. So I love it. It's a very funny rules light role play heavy kind of little mini game type thing to
yeah.
either like an amoosh boosh, if you will, for a bigger game maybe while you wait for people to show up, or a stopgap in case people don't show up, or just something to just introduce people to as a first RPG or first tabletop thing, as a very shallow end of the pool kind of thing.
Right. Right. That is a lot of questions. That's a lot of stuff up in the air. So, in theory, can you damage the bar so it falls in love?
I don't I don't think the bar can take scars. I don't.
Oh,
I
that's
don't think the
pretty.
bar can gain scars.
You emotionally damage the bar. So right. So what do these items actually do? Like, if you steal some pork scratchings, what does that
So
do for
there are
you?
no rules for pork scratchings, as it turns out. Neither is
Just
the
nick
rules for
some.
drinking your pint. Just, I think
Why
it's
is
just
that an
there because it's
action?
funny. I think it's just there because it's funny. I would probably give it
Should this be
something.
a?
I'd probably give it something like if you frantically drink a pint or steal some pork scratchings and eat them, you gain 1 hit point or something. I don't know. Like drinking a potion.
I think if you frankly drink a pint, you gain. Oh, you need to have a drunkenness mechanic so you could pass out
Yeah.
through non-damage.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Just
Anyway.
if you frankly down enough pints, you just collapse.
Yeah, so I think this is interesting. I want
That
to give
sounds,
this a shot at some
that
point.
sounds really fun. I need to read it, but that sounds really fun.
Yeah, I might bring it down sometime as a funny thing to start off a game with. But yeah, that's Bar Fight by Beyond Cataclysm Games. That this was like really cheap. It was like a quid for like, a good little game to
One
play.
quid.
Yeah, it was like a quid. It was pretty good. Right. So we've done tabletop book club for the week. What's next? Critical fumble. Do we have an critical fumble? I believe we probably do.
I do. I tripped. I tripped while I was costuming about.
Oh no! It's a sad kind of critical
You know, kid.
fumble.
Yeah, it's a literal fumble. Me and my big shoe covers. Luckily, they thought it was hilarious, and it was
Hey,
fine. But
good stuff.
yeah, a literal fumble. I suppose the other one, that's a bit more serious, is some very clever journalists over in America have managed to catch a vice executive over at Disney with like a fake date kind of situation where they got them to talk about their hiring practices, and it went pretty. They set up like a fake date, and
Catfishing
they were
for
just
journalistic purposes.
casually yeah, just casually asking, like how they hire,
Yeah.
and the answer I know honestly gave was well, to keep in mind they're talking like American corporate terms, so don't have the full context.
Yeah.
But basically, if you're Mitchell Hayes in Egypt,
Huh.
if if um if you're non-Jewish or non-white, your chances of getting into the top executive spots practically zero.
Interesting.
So
So
when
that went completely the opposite way I was expecting it to go.
yeah, yeah, that's it. The funny thing is though, if the way he was talking about it, if it was like an entertainment role where you're in front of the camera or DEI, oh, you end up there. Yeah, if you're non-white or Jewish,
Hmm.
absolutely. Because it's almost like it's almost like they literally want to put them on show to say, "Oh, look at us! Look how good we are."
Yeah.
But the top executive positions, though, nah, not happening. We're not interested in
Yikes.
you actually running the show. This is a guy who works. He's not. He's pretty high up as well. He's like one of the vice executives, so he's pretty hefty up there. So, and he's there saying, "Oh yeah, we are weirdly discriminatory at Disney." Um, so that's going well for them, as you can imagine.
Jeez, this is the sort of situation where it's like, how are you managing to make the fictional company Vault Tech look good by comparison in this situation?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so that's gone really well for them, and well,
Yeesh.
eventually Disney will start to fall off and die, but it's just going to take a while. This is just another
Yeah,
nail, I guess, in the coffin. Give it time. And under interviews that I'm sure will come out and will leak something because they've like,
probably.
why is it with giant companies with like terrible cybersecurity,
I don't know.
government sites as well? All this stuff keeps getting leaked.
Yeah, apparently, like the US banned a very big antivirus software because apparently someone in the government used it, and because of their one of their like security things got flagged by the antivirus as malware, so it uploaded the concept of that security thing to its systems because as you do, if it's like, oh, as if it was a new malware thing, and like, wait, no, that's our malware. You're not allowed to have that. Wait a minute.
Oh, so, what?
Yeah, so it's like some sort of
Oh,
like spyware thing that the government uses or something. It blocked
no,
this
it got called
spot.
as
Yeah,
malware
this
because it's
antivirus thing
uh,
blocked that, and so the government's like, no, you're not allowed to block our spyware specifically.
okay. So government software is now malware. Good to know. Um, hmm. So that's why they have some very lax cybersecurity because they need the spyware to actually work. Okay
Yeah,
then. Good to know.
but so that's
Uh,
it's not even my critical fumble because you mentioned bad cybersecurity.
The other thing that I have noticed, which I've
Uh,
been seeing blowing up, is Gen Con.
oh,
That's been making the rounds again on Twitter because for some reason, uh, the convention heads are deciding to make um, some new rules for people attending.
oh,
And
goody.
one of those was if you have a stall that is openly Zionist, we will not allow you because that's what matters at a nerdy tabletop convention.
Yeah.
Who wants to enter on Palestine? Um, and that's got some people annoyed, and some people who were formerly at Critical Role have backed out because I guess it's their wrong kind of politics. I mean, I'm sure they're into the politics, but not that kind of politics.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people have pulled out for that. Um, it just and a lot of people that don't agree with the narrative that they like to spin at Gen Con are being effectively shadow banned as well and not allowed to attend
Oh, lovely.
because it sounds like some very petty nonsense over things that don't really matter for tabletop. But
Yeah.
you know, I, very very silly Gen Con this year. It's but the equivalent would be if we went to like the Games Expo and they were like, oh yeah, if you're anti-Israel, you can't come.
Yeah.
That would be
Sorry,
the
sorry.
equivalent of what they've done
If
here.
you're yeah, it's a bit like them saying like if you're a Tory, you're not allowed to come to convention. Like I don't like Tories,
Yeah,
but like still, like what? Are you fucking
yeah, as if
kidding
they're
me?
going to check.
Question
As if they're going to check at the door as well.
mark? Yeah.
The other thing.
It's like
How are they going to prove that?
how do you feel about chocolate hobnobs? I like
Try,
them. Tory.
try to subtly ask.
Some like weird innocuous question that's like
Yeah, yeah. So Gen Con's probably ruined itself this year, but
mm,
apparently it ruined itself last year as well. It was originally founded by um, Gary Gygax's son, I believe it was. Um,
interesting.
but they don't like to, but they don't like to talk about him because he's like old D&D. So they're like, well, we don't like that.
Yeah.
They're trying to pretend he had nothing to do with it, despite he, founded it.
Let's not have anything to do with the guy that founded the convention. Yeah, that makes fucking sense.
It's J.K. Rowling all over again.
Yeah.
Let's do Harry Potter, but never mention the creator of Harry Potter, for that would be inconvenient.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's
Anyway,
just some strange people running conventions sometimes.
yeah, yeah. So my critical fumble's a bit less horrific, but still annoying. Can
I
you
know, that's
guess
good
who
to
it
hear.
is in critical fumble this week?
Is it Wizards again?
Yeah, it
Or
is.
Magic?
Somehow.
Oh, okay, great.
So, there's a new set well, I say a new set coming out. Well, not coming out yet, but called Duskmorn, and it's like a horror themed set. And then by horror, I mean like
Great.
The Ring and Five Nights at Freddy's and that kind of thing. Not
But
literally,
those
but
two
that
go
kind of thing.
together. Yeah.
That kind of
Yes.
horror. Um, and they've been announcing cards for it and revealing cards for it. Slight problem. Duskmorn isn't the latest set. Isn't the set that's coming out next. So they're revealing
Wait, so what?
loads of spoilers for a set that isn't the set that's even due to come out yet. And the set that is due to come out before then, I think it's called Bloomborough, has had very few cards revealed from it yet. I think we've had more
No,
of
they
yeah. So it's this perpetual hype fucking bullshit from Wizards. Like, oh, we're going to keep making loads and loads of sets and keep spoiling them to the point where they've accidentally or accidentally on purpose started spoiling a set before they've even finished spoiling the set beforehand, so we know what's in that set. It's like, what do you mean?
you just has the marketing released the information out of order or something there? Because that sounds like someone's
I don't know.
released the hype.
I think nobody, I don't even know if Wizards knows what they're doing with this whole set release thing now. It's like,
So you're gonna have loads of people.
show the people some cards. From what set? It doesn't matter. They'll buy them.
So people will be really excited now for Duskmorn, but they're gonna announce the next one, and it's not gonna be Duskmorn. And they're like, why did
Yeah,
you
but
release?
Bloomburrow's
Tell me
out.
this.
Bloomborough? Oh, that set. Right, yeah, right. The set that we didn't get very few
Excited for the
spoilers
one you
for.
announced though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's how they do. They just released the wrong hype early.
It's like, yeah, it's like, what? And people are not
That
happy
is bizarre.
with the Assassin's Creed set that's coming out either. It's a bit.
Oh,
The general consensus is it's a bit lackluster. And they've done that, like I said before, I
but
think they've done that thing again where they've got the less packs. Sorry, fewer
right,
cards per pack, but will charge more per pack than we would normally anyway.
right, okay.
Which is like, okay.
So I've got a question with these. If I don't play Manual much, with these themed packs, is it a case of they just slap the rules onto a franchise that's already exists, or do they actually make it feel somewhat like the brand that it's based off?
Oh, it's more like a general feel of tropes and things. So it is like the kind of I say mostly B. Well, it's movie horror movie tropes. So there's a reference to the Ring without it being the Ring. There's a
It's not.
chainsaw
It's the
card.
circle.
Yeah, but there's a chainsaw ref. There's a chainsaw equipment card. There's the creepy doll trope, but the creepy doll is made of spiders.
Right, right.
They've got things like incarnations of doom and weird like whispering hollow type things, that sort of thing. Some sort of borderline yokai
What?
type stuff.
Oh my! I just right. So just looked at the apparent card for Ezio. It's insane.
Oh so the Assassin's Creed stuff is like actual Assassin's Creed licensed stuff. Yeah.
But it's like his effect is kind of bonkers though. So when he okay, so when he deals damage to a player, you can pay one of looks like one of every energy.
Yeah, every color. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
If they have 10 or less life, you just win.
Yeah. The only thing is
Oh,
like
and he's only like
yeah, by
a
the
one of
time.
black.
So the thing is that by the time that you have, say, if you have 5 color like mana and someone's at 10 life, you can probably just spend that 5 mana in some way to just kill them anyway. So it's like, it's all right, but you could probably kill them using that 5 mana with other means anyway, theoretically. But
Okay.
he's interesting. There's a few other
Oh,
things like, oh, this thing does things with vehicles, which, as I mentioned, joked before. I think we
your
joked
deck.
about the whole Ezio or whatever. I know Edward Kenway piloting the TARDIS, who's somehow piloting Optimus Prime, who's somehow pushing a Urukai fucking ballista, etc.,
Ballista
etc.
for something.
Yeah. So there's that aspect, and there's things that things that assassins matters, but there's nothing in the set that people are like, wow, this is actually a powerful card that will actually like go into people's decks outside of it being, outside of actual like played higher power decks that aren't just funny decks like vehicles or assassins or rogues or pirates. So we were like,
Yeah, that would be easy. Just have generic sort of archetype. Like, do the Yu-Gi-Oh thing have
yeah,
generic sort of archetypes and roll with that?
yeah. The other problem is as well is that again, nowadays Assassin's Creed as an intellectual property is kind of lukewarm. It's not bad, but
Yeah.
it's not great. It's just there. It's like, oh yeah, it's a
Yeah,
classic.
man.
It's Far Cry 3 again, but with a weird Egyptian. What are we on now? Is it what's the latest Assassin's Creed even? I don't even know. I think the last one I
The
saw was
last
in
one,
Egypt.
Origins.
Origins.
The yeah, the Origin wasn't it?
Ah, right, yeah, yeah.
To be fair, that one looked better than the last few though.
Did they like go back to the old formula?
No, it looked better and felt more, you know, it felt like the setting fit.
Ah, hmm.
Some of the ones before that, they were like in um, like in Cockney London and stuff, and they felt they were miles away from the whole assassin bit. Felt a bit
Yeah,
weird. So at least they went back to the ancient Middle East, where it's like, okay, this feels like Assassin's Creed again a bit.
Mm. Yeah, because I remember like Odyssey and the one in
Oh yeah,
Egypt were basically like the same formula that they kind of started with Far Cry 3. It's like it's just the same game with a
well,
different lick of
a lot of that's
paint.
still there.
Ugh. It's like, can you like
A lot of that is still the
maybe?
same,
Yeah,
but
it's like, can you like maybe figure out a new gameplay loop, please? Please.
yeah, well, but they haven't gone that far. There's one touched Assassin's Creed game since Revelations, which
Mm.
was I thought that was okay. What's worth? Just looking at the Altair card, you have to run a weird deck to make that work.
Yeah, yeah. This is
It is like,
and this is the problem for most of the Assassin's Creed cards. You have to play a quote unquote weird deck in order for it to even work.
because like, because the lands you've got, a lot of like classic players, they'll play one or two colors.
Hmm.
Like I played blue black, so it's like yeah. Um, but Altair is one red, one white, and one black. So
Yeah,
you'd have to arbitrarily have some red lands in your deck on the off chance you get him in your hand.
yeah. And red, white, black is a kind of an odd color combination, even in Magic terms. Anyway, it's like it's not an awful color combination. It's just a bit of a weird one. But there are some really good three color pairs to be fair for because some of this stuff's designed for Commander to be fair. Even though it's a set that's also
I
modern
suppose yeah.
legal, but that's fine. Let's not worry about legality of things.
It feels like they've got a lot of bloat going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's Magic
yeah.
in current year. Lots and lots of bloat. Which brings me back to Duskmantle and the problem of it
Hey.
coming out. Because it's just, I think this is a symptom of just bloat, the perpetual hype thing of like, okay, we've got to make people excited for this set, and this set, and this set, and this set. And it just gets to the point of like, okay, if you randomly showed somebody a card that's like, I don't know, some creepy cat, a creepy cat in a hood,
Yes.
and ask somebody who isn't like a real like hardcore Magic fan, is this from Bloomburrow, Duskmorn, or Assassin's Creed? I bet you they wouldn't know the answer.
It's just you just tell me, oh, this is the same game as well.
Yeah, yeah, this is the same game.
Yeah, well, I don't think I believe you to be honest.
Yeah, and the problem this also creates is you're turning away, you're disenfranchising existing players because they're like too much all the time, and a lot of people are like, I can't afford like I can't afford to go hard into a set every single fucking month. I'm not going to buy a booster box of a set every month. That's ridiculous. Or whatever
Yeah,
their
it's
normal kind of thing is. It's they
yeah,
can't keep
the
track of all the
proper
new stuff.
punchy.
It's affecting all the formats because the formats either I mean, some of the formats change really rapidly. So Commander can change on a dime rapidly. Um, and sometimes there are just entire sets that have the opposite problem, like Assassin's Creed, where it's going to have effect on no formats in terms of competitiveness because there's just nothing playable in them. And then on the other hand, you've got like it's not appealing to new players because there's so many different things that are all the same game coming out of the next sort of 3 months or so, let alone the entire library. It's, you know, there's no way to get that shallow foot in anymore because there's just too much. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, yeah, I think the tone. I think Magic has had a tone problem.
Yeah,
Uh, too often it's like so. Why the last card game anything I brought was actually Flesh and Blood
makes sense.
because I heard it plays like Magic, but I just saw the art style and it's consistent with itself,
Yeah,
and I think that's what kind of sold me on it. Um, because again, with Magic the Gathering, there's so many weird decks. So you got the classic fantasy stuff that's in house.
yeah,
But none of that honestly looks fine for the most part. But you got that, and then you got the weird branded stuff, and so it's you could have two serious players, and one person's running like the classic the classic, in-house fantasy stuff that's
Yep.
been there since forever. And then you got like people that are like, oh, I play a Transformers Assassin's Creed deck, and are meant to think that's the same game,
Yeah.
which I just find a bit weird.
Or just
Um,
silly things like the that one goblin that uses stickers as a mechanic that was meta playable in I think it was modern or something or legacy. So it's like yeah, I'm playing name sticker goblin, which is also funny because most people refer to it as
yeah,
mind goblin, as we discussed this before. So it's just like yeah, tonal problems. Like, are we a serious game? Are we
like,
Fortnite, the card game? What are we now?
yeah. What's the brand of Magic the Gathering anyway? Well, the last set I really would have bothered with would have been like Phyrexia, but that's because they roped in Junji for it. I
Yeah.
like that guy. Um,
I don't mind like
if I can
roping in
trust
art
his art
styles.
to be
Art
consistent.
styles like Junji Ito, when it still kind of fits the thematics of Magic. Good.
Oh yeah, I can trust Junji can do a good job though because he's
Yeah.
got a rep and to love his art and
Yeah.
he's consistent with his general style.
Yeah. And but as much as I like some of the Universes Beyond stuff because I think it's funny and I like some of the properties for it, like Doctor Who. It is a bit silly, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, imagine like being an OG player and you've got your well loved well loved deck, possibly from the 90s, 80s, whatever, and you're playing someone who's rolling up with My Little Pony deck.
Yeah.
That is entirely possible, and I think
Um.
you'd question what you're doing with your hobby at that point.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. There's some properties that I think really, really, really work, like the Lord of the Rings set, because you know in a way, that is very magic because A, high fantasy, and B, early
Yes.
magic was very much inspired by Lord of the Rings. So it's kind of come full circle somehow.
I do think they fumbled that one though, because there was the controversy of like randomly race swapping characters, which is a bit
Yeah. And the
strange.
fact that
Never really let that one go.
the one ring is one of the most powerful cards in Magic right now, and it still is. And it's
Is it
also
like that?
getting more and more
But,
expensive because the chance of it being reprinted, because it's the one
yeah.
ring and IP problems, is very fucking low.
Uh, yeah, that's the problem when you buy into too many franchises.
Yeah.
'Cause then you got to pay for the licenses.
Yeah. Um, and the other one I didn't really mind controversially is well, there's a few the D&D movie. So the D&D movie, the D&D, all the D&D stuff to
Was
be
that
fair, because
okay?
it's not the same universe, but it is kind of thing. And the D&D movie card Secret
Oh,
Relay was kind of
legally it
cool.
is.
Yeah. And weirdly enough, The Walking Dead, because Innistrad exists, and
Oh,
you know, zombies and zombie themed things are fairly magic anyway. So I it's a okay, it's a bit more modern kind of, people and characters, but zombie themed stuff has been around since the first set of Magic, so
well, yeah, zombies are you can't copyright that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't hate it. Some of the worst some of the stupidest ones though are things like Fortnite and My Little Pony.
But yeah, Fortnite is like adopting everything anyway.
Yeah. In terms of thematics, I don't mind Assassin's Creed because, again, you could argue for the most part, Assassin's Creed, the older games at least, or at least the ones set further in the past than Cockney Britain, are for the most part in the same kind of era as Magic the Gathering, sort of histo fantasy settings. And, assassins are a staple of fantasy, so it's fine. It's fine. For the most part, and pirates are already a thing in Magic, so again, that's fine. It's just that the Cockney England is a bit weird. It's one of those, I guess, you have to include it, otherwise somebody that likes Assassin's Creed would complain.
Yeah.
Where's me swamp that looks like London in it? I think that's the scariest thing about that set is that the swamps are just England. Which is perhaps the most apt. Perhaps that's the most apt and correct thing that Wizards of the Coast has ever done is make London a swamp.
Smethwick.
Smethwick, yeah. Uh,
Smethwick, no, Smethwick and Ladywood. You did parts of Birmingham for that.
yeah, yeah. But that's my critical fumble for the week, right? We waffled on about Wizard of the Curse for too long for one
Yes.
day, I think. Right. What's next on the agenda? I gotta get out the listicle. Gotta get the list. So, yes, homebrew of the week. What have you got cooking?
Oh, a few. Let's have a look. Oh, I know. I think I posted it in the chat because I like my random tables sometimes.
Yes.
And sometimes to filter out ideas so I don't repeat myself, I did like a random dragon generator
Ooh.
just to make dragons a bit more interesting
Hmm.
and so it's not the same four-legged, always winged dragon. One of those I got was it? Where is it at? There we are. Yeah, could have been called the singing dragon because I like weird breath weapon attacks. So I came up with this. So it looks like so it's a dragon that's vaguely wolf shaped.
Uh-huh.
It's and sort of like because it started off as a wormling, so it can expand on it, and it's got so it did sort of balance out. So it's got multiple breath weapons as a wormling, but to balance that out, it can't fly yet. It can only glide.
Yeah.
So to sort of balance that out a bit. So the idea was really simple. Their breath weapon has multiple uses, but they're not both like a line.
Mm.
Um, so it's sort of like so. Let's have a look how they work. The 48 hit points, so based it loosely on like a CR3, CR4 um, Wormling. There's a gold one I based it on.
Uh-huh.
Um, Sort of gamified it a little bit because I love the idea of when you're fighting a monster that's meant to be somewhat cinematic, and if it's got a breath weapon, I give it like something. Give this feature so um, when it's reduced to half its hit points or less,
Hmm.
it instantly regains the use of its breath weapon.
Interesting.
And I base that on the Monster Hunter games, where
Huh.
if you do enough damage to it, a monster gets enraged, deals more damage, moves quicker.
Mhm.
So sort of that way, so especially for like a boss fight, that's actually kind of interesting. So it's not just you surround the monster and you whack it over and over again, you know,
Yeah.
to mix up a little bit. Also made it. It's got a few resistances, so it can't fly yet, but it's got some nice resistances to force, piercing, and slashing damage.
Mm.
Well, on top of that, it's got resistance, advantage on saves to resist being frightened because it's a dragon. It's immune to sleep and it's immune to being deafened because its whole thing is it's about using its breath weapon a lot. So it kind of had to be immune to that.
Yeah.
Of course, the trade-off is obviously can't fly. Um, and its scales are all kind of like hard and jagged and sharp looking. So it's figured why did not be resistant to normal slashing stuff. Let's have a look. So, as the actual breath weapons bit, it made it. It's got um a roar, which is just like an air bubble, effectively. That sort of like just explodes.
Just pop. Ah.
So rather than a line, it's a 20-foot radius bubble,
Hmm.
and it's like just like an orb that knocks stuff down. It's like an orb of noise. So 3d12 force, which is
Nice.
kind of weird to resist, and it deafens,
Oh.
which depending on a few, there's not many, but a few spells that can mean like certain bard abilities you won't be able to get any benefit from because you can't hear the song being played.
Yep.
Um, so the way I like to do it is it can use its breath weapon once a go, uh, once per recharge, but it can use one of two effects. It's got that or sleeper song, so it forces a whiz save or they just go to sleep.
That works for me.
Yeah, so the idea was it's sort of I like to do dragons sort of like animals rather than like true dragons. It's great if they're talking, but some dragons are more fun if they're just more like animals and They're kind of just naturally occurring.
Mm.
So the idea was, as a wormling, they're really quite aggressive. They're just figuring out how loud their voice is, so they use their breath weapon a lot. But if they figure out they can't kill something or scare something off,
Yeah,
they'd much rather try and put it to sleep and then run away because
makes
they like
sense.
being alive. Um, Gave it a legendary action, but because it's a wormling, it just has the basic legendary action move. Because it can't do anything too crazy yet, because it's far too young for it. Um, it's a bit playing. Brett ran his sessions lately, and he's really good with his legendary actions. So I've been taking inspiration from there, so it prevents your boss monster from being constantly surrounded and wailed on by like multiple players at once.
Hmm.
Also, as I discovered, it's a great way to deal with spells like Moonbeam. Um,
Yeah.
the way it's written, if you begin your turn in Moonbeam, you got to take the hit. But if you use legendary action move, you can constantly move out of the Moonbeam, and you're never taking damage from it so long as you're constantly out of its radius.
Yeah.
So that's really cheeky use of that. So talk a bit of inspiration there. The other thing I've been doing with my dragons, which is quite fun, is I borrowed something from Talislanta, the D&D conversion anyway.
Hmm.
There's a trait in there for tail attacks, which is really neat. So basically, if the target is behind them, it's a bonus action rather than the full action.
Makes sense.
So it's quite a nice. Yeah, it's not it's designed at probably at lower CR, I think, but or lower level parties. But then again, it's still a dragon, and I was a little bit mean with it. But I had quite fun with it. It fights like something would from a Monster Hunter game. So they stay mobile. They do a lot of um. Let's see. Its main thing is its bite attack. So randomize that. We can also do like basic body slams and its weird breath weapons and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But just designed to be a bit more of a mobile dragon fight, despite it not having full flight. So that is the singing dragon, which I will be putting up on the Discord this week because I keep forgetting. Um, where do you put those up anyway?
So you put those in the homebrew section on the group on the Discord server.
Man,
There is a specific section for
that
homebrews.
makes sense. I don't have permission to send that. Okay, that's my problem. Never mind.
Though I
Never
can
mind.
give you permission to post things in this channel, probably. Hang on a minute.
Right, fair enough. Then I'll
Notifications to
plonk it in
Viv.
there. So yeah,
Edit channel.
yeah. So
Um,
this week, Nuclear Dragon, the singing dragon.
yeah.
I would say it's level 5 and up to be sure because it can be a bit mean.
Uh-huh.
And also, if you're going to run it, don't be afraid to have it run away and try and put people to sleep because ultimately it likes being alive more than anything else.
Hmm.
So you don't have to do the classic fight till death thing necessarily.
That makes sense.
What you got?
I'm just sorry. I'm just sorting out the Discord permissions for you. So
Oh, cool.
I'm just gonna do this real quick whilst I'm thinking about it, so we could post that on that. I also should probably make you moderator. That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Oh no,
Add role.
I've heard bad things happen. You can be a Discord moderator.
There you go. Unfortunately you're now a
Okay.
Discord mod.
Oh no.
Please get your Discord
Dear.
kitten from the government supplied kitten station.
Oh, that's one of the bonuses, is it?
Yeah. It's one of the perks of the job. Right. So what I
So much to
have
learn.
is it is called the Bell of Doom! Exclamation point. Doom is
Wait,
always
how
capitalized.
many O's are in Doom?
Just two, but it's capital. It's all Doom is
Oh,
all caps because it's funny. It's also the exclamation part. The exclamation point is part of the name.
okay. I
Um,
like that.
so it's an artifact weapon, legendary tier, because I haven't made a legendary weapon yet, so I thought funny. So it's a mace, requires attunement.
Right,
It's +1. Has some effects. So the first effect is called ding!
right,
Exclamation point. When the attuned user,
right.
so when the attuned user levels up, they get a +1d4 to their hit dice roll. I want to make a joke about dinging, because like that's like World of Warcraft slang. So when you level up, you
Oh,
ding,
right.
because it used to be you ding, literally ping kind of noise, and then you get the doo, 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 doo. Yeah, so you ding. So the ding does that, so it gives you extra. Basically gives you potentially more health on a level up. So again, similar joking thing to getting quite a bit of extra health in games like World of Warcraft. Dong.
Okay.
So ding and dong. On a successful hit, dong. This weapon deals one extra 1d4 psychic damage. So it deals psychic damage. And it adds one doom! Exclamation point charge to this weapon. So you may use doom charges to do various things. Because
Right.
I like giving magic items options and things.
Right.
So the basic one is doom saying and requires one charge. It's a bonus action. Grant advantage on the attuned user's next charisma check to convince other creatures of some kind of impending doom or danger. Doesn't have to be true. It can be vague or oddly specific. So you could be like,
All
there's
right.
a hole there.
This is impending doom.
Yeah. Or literally like Doom saying like, the apocalypse is coming, the world is going to end, Shia Halud is going to come along on ridden
It's
by
low prices.
with his low prices, and we're all going to die. And that would give you an advantage on that check. Because I figured Doom saying, Bell of Doom, Town Crier, funny things. So that's your one charge, basically a funny, stupid thing you can do. Toll of Doom uses 3
Right.
charges. So for 3 charges, you can cast Toll the Dead on a valid target. Because it's a cantrip, I thought, give it a low
Right.
thing. Because you'd still have to sort of hit something 3 times in order to even get a cantrip out of it. Sonic Bell, 6 charges. The user casts Thunder Wave, can be upcast by using 6 charges for each level above the first, which I felt was fair. So you're getting your free cost spell, so you could,
Right.
store up those counters, all those charges, and cast a really big Thunder Wave, if you really wanted to. For 20 charges, we have an ability called Never Question the Efficacy of a Bell. The next attack made with this weapon is an automatic crit. I figured for 20, like you're getting 20 hits, sure. It's a legendary weapon, fine. And it's a mace. Like maces are generally like not good weapons anyway. The next one is they do like bells, which is 25 charges. Summons geese of any type with combined challenge rating equal to the attuned user's level. They are neutral to the attuned user and their allies, and are aggressive and mischievous to everything. DM note, they will attempt to steal the bell, obviously.
Okay.
It's-
So you got a lot of people just fighting over this bell.
Yeah, well, geese mostly, yeah.
Okay.
The doomiest doom of all, which is 80 charges, 80. The user makes a wisdom saving throw of DC 20. The user casts Power Word Kill. If they pass the save, they choose a target as normal. On a failed save, they randomly target one valid creature within range. So they could wind up accidentally killing themselves.
You know what you could have called that? You could have called that Doom Eternal.
I like it.
For a feature name.
And then our penultimate ability is use 100 charges. So you have to get 100 successful hits and save all of those hits up without using any of the abilities. So it's called Detroitington, become Goose. The user casts True Polymorph on a valid target, but can only turn targets into a sapient goose creature. This includes, but is not limited to, Awakened Goose, Awakened Dire Goose, Goose Hydra, Kenkus and Aarakocras that are geese, and Goose Folk. In the case of humanoid geese, the user can choose to retain the target's class levels. Just a bit of chaos there.
Okay.
You are now a goose.
You have to really commit to that to do that, but okay.
Yeah. I thought someone really wanted to commit to that, they could. Sure. There's also a note, which is technically an ability, or rather a trait that the weapon has, because the weapon, which is the first time I've ever done this, is sentient, or rather, it has a spirit possessing it.
Okay.
The Bell of Doom is
Well,
possessed by Guella Guston, a 20th level monk, Way of the Drunken Fighter, race of Simic hybrid if you're using that, or Goose Folk, since this is designed or ideally to be used with some of the stuff with Tales of the Honkpocalypse. Hence the Goose
right.
Folk stuff.
Yes. Yes. That makes sense.
All Goose Folk, albeit on the more anime girl side as opposed to not quite a Kokra side of appearances. Alignment of Chaotic Evil, or Chaotic Stupid, if you prefer. When attuned to,
Right.
Guella will absolutely refuse to shut up and will constantly wisecrack, give ideas, and generally be the devil on the shoulder of the attuned user. At DM's discretion, she may be heard by the rest of the party. You can choose not to do that if you want. If you want to make the, if you want to like gaslight the player, like, no, really, there's a goose girl telling me to kill people, kind of thing. So you can either be heard by the
That
party
does
or
sound
not.
insane.
Yeah, or you can also have her like manifest on the shoulder of the attuned user in like a literal allegory for the devil on the shoulder thing, which I thought might be funny. If the attuned user allows
That's
her
just
to become disgruntled or bored, she will indignantly refuse to allow the attuned user to activate any of the Bell of Doom's Doom abilities. So you've got to placate her somewhat.
I can make that worse is have the spirit of the bell demand that the user get drunk,
Well, I
like
put her as
blackout
Way of
drunk.
the Drunken Fighter because I didn't know what other subclass would fit. I kind of would flavor it as she's not necessarily a drunkard. It's just that she fights in that kind of same chaotic Bruce Lee kind of way. Not Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan. She fights in a more Jackie Chan kind
Oh
of
yeah.
way.
When what would you even put that as? Because he doesn't that give you a bonus to using unofficial weapons,
Yeah, it gives you like
improvised
bonuses
weapons,
to improvise weapons and things like that, which Jackie Chan does a lot, even when he's not playing a
ladders, and
drunkard.
mostly
Yeah,
ladders.
yeah.
Mostly ladders though. It's weird.
Um, so we have our Ars Arcanum entry. Once a feared
Yes.
and deadly weapon held by saints and villains alike, it is perhaps best known to have been wielded by one titular Goose Warrior, who terrorized the town of Stafford-on-Gander for decades. You know, putting in a little bit of lore that's relevant to the universe there. Um,
Okay.
Her tale is lost to time immemorial, but generations of that village still carry generational trauma they don't quite understand. Just, why am I afraid of these geese? I don't know. How the Bell of Doom, point, brackets, note, Doom is always all caps and capitalized, came to possess such mythical abilities is anyone's guess. Perhaps it was blessed by a benevolent and waterfowl-loving god, then cursed by a wicked and mischievous god. Or perhaps it was made of gold, specifically from the eggs of a golden goose. Or maybe even the very fears of Stafford-on-Gander have manifested in the Bell of Doom and fuel its dark power. But do you know what I think? I think the bell is cursed from its original and chaotic owner, the very same Goose Girl of legend, who bestows power on those who honked, got messed with, and bonked. But what do I know? I'm only one of the most powerful, knowledgeable wizards on the plane. I'm making like a Mordekainen joke there, but also Battle Block Theatre joke because I thought it was
Right.
funny. So yes, it's a very
Fine.
powerful, very silly bell that does very silly things and is possessed by a goose girl. Because
I
yeah,
just had a really dumb thought. Remembering geese creatures,
uh huh.
all geese and long-necked birds should have disadvantage on checks to avoid being grappled.
Yeah, you just grab 'em by the neck and just throw. Oi, get out!
Yeah, just yeah.
Just
It's kind of weird that we both end up going with noise-based things this week.
yeah. It's the noisy episode.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Right.
Um,
What's next?
yeah.
So we can briefly talk about rolling for regret. Do we have a rolling for regret thing this week?
Not that I've bought recently. No, it's been money be what it is. It's been kind of easy not to regret that. Um,
Understandable.
but yeah, no, actually.
We can skip that then, because we're kind of running on time anyway.
Yeah, Wizards did its thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Wizards appeared as usual. Last thing then, fantasy film. Do we have any fantasy film recommendations for this week
I
at all?
yes, I do have. I've got some, you want in mind this week. Uh, what I would recommend if you've ever seen it is it's kind of that I watch from time to time, but
Uh-huh.
it's kind of great for like a classic fantasy film. The Princess Bride. It's a proper classic '80s one.
Okay.
It's like honestly quite fairy tale, but it's got some really good
Yeah,
lines.
that was another
Humor's on point.
one. Sorry, going back to that was another one of the universes beyond actually that was kind of okay with was the Princess Bride Secret Lair because again,
It did one of those.
fairy tale and high
Oh, okay.
fantasy.
Wow.
So I think they even did the you fell for one of the classic blunders as a card.
Yeah, it's one of the most quotable films I've ever seen as
Yeah,
well. It's
I
really quite
actually
fun.
haven't seen it. Is
Well,
that?
that's one thing be quite good to bring up now because it's an old enough movie that a lot of people might not have even
Yeah.
seen it, but it's really fun. There is a very famous fight scene in it. Very famous like rapier duel. That's kind of great. Um, Loads of quotable lines, and it's got a really great cast.
Hmm.
The guy they got playing well playing it's called the Dread Pirate Roberts is an actor I really like from he's in Robin Hood Men in Tights as well, which is also a really funny film I recommend.
Mm.
Like one of those guys that looks like at the time he was pretty much born to play Robin Hood, but
Yeah.
he sort of did, but in like the parody comedy version. Um, yeah, I'd say yeah, Princess absolutely go watch the Princess Bride. It's a really fun movie. It's it's got that wholesome nailed down as well. So it's a really wholesome movie as well as being actually worth watching, which
Mm.
is it's kind of hard to pull off. But no, yeah, I swear by that movie. Uh, what a few years kind of good movie.
Oh, like a classic but funny fantasy movie.
Oh well,
Oh.
yeah, it's great. You can tell the era time because they got the actor who played Columbo in it.
Hmm.
And it's literally told as the format of some a grandparent telling a story to one of his grandkids, and it's really wholesome and it's quite fun.
Hmm.
Um, but it's yeah. So Peter Falk's is really he always speaks like someone's granddad anyway, but he's really quite convincing. I mean, it's really
Yeah.
honestly a great movie. It's one of them I bothered to watch every few years, so I remember how good it was,
Hmm.
and it never gets bad. Cause remember I remember this being good, and it's still good. Um,
Yeah. I guess
I'll have
like
to
the
look at those
one.
cards though.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a secret layer on it, which was actually kind of cool. I think the movie that I would probably talk about in the same kind of vein, but not really, because it's a bit slightly new but also quite old, is I bet you there's people alive now that haven't seen Shrek, the original Shrek.
You know, you're probably right. You
And
know, there's a Shrek rave, by the way.
there's no what?
There was a Shrek rave.
Oh
I
my
believe my brother did go
days.
to.
I love
Yeah, my
that.
brother took his fiance to it for a bit of a joke. Um, oh, these
Yeah.
are okay.
But yeah, I think
Oh,
before we get sidetracked, I'll let you come back to your original point in a second. Um, the first Shrek, not only is it funny, I think
yes,
it has a lot of like actual political and other commentary, which is very relevant nowadays. And for fantasy, as a fantasy parody setting, it's really quite cohesive.
right.
Actually, it takes the fairy tale thing, flips it on its head, adds an asshole short guard king, and runs with it.
You're saying that forced migration to ogre swamps is a terrible idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Shrek should have had borders on his swamp.
Shrek should have been allowed. Shrek should have been allowed to remain a free state. Instead of being
I do think that
annexed
movie
into
is really
far,
good,
far
though.
away. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is a good movie. The sequel
Sequels are.
is a fun. No,
I think it
I don't
fell off
know.
after 2. It fell off after 2.
Shrek Shrek 2 is very good. Um, I think that they're both as good as the original. I think.
Hmm. Shrek the Third is like
Yeah,
it does have the do the raw meme though. It does have that going for it.
I liked the plot of the third film, but didn't like. That's the fourth one. The fourth had a really decent idea for a plot, but it wasn't a great movie.
Yeah.
Again, they think they milked it a little too hard. It's one of those, sadly.
Mm.
And it did. The original does have Smash Mouth, which like
Yeah.
Smash Mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Counting Crows is on there, and a lot of. Are there still many Shrek memes? Because a lot of like our old memes are just ripped from that movie.
I think like people are still doing Shrek memes. I don't know how relevant they are now, but people are still like Shrek. Like get Shreked is still a thing.
Whether Shrek is love, Shrek is life was a
Shrek
thing.
is love.
Years
Yeah,
ago.
that's a whole other. That's the wrong kind of Shrek. That's the Shrek you get from the back alley kind of fucking. Uh, and on
No,
that,
I haven't really thought about that because
yeah,
that's
and
my age show. You know,
on
like
that,
stuff from the stuff 2000s, stuff people won't
yeah,
have known.
and on that
Yes.
Shrektacular note, I think it's time to end the podcast.
Yes. Get Shreked. Have a good week, everyone.
Get Shreked. Have a good week. We're
And
gonna raid these guys. Here's your raid message. You know what? No, fuck it. Our raid messages get Shreked. Our raid messages get Shreked. Fuck it. That's our raid message. There you go. Get Shreked. That's our raid message. Copy that and go to the raid. That'd be funny. Right. See you guys soon.
just flood the chat.
Just get Shreked. Right. This is goodbye from me. Goodbye from Byzantian Dev. And we'll see you guys soon.
Goodbye from me.